Hey guys, I want to first say thank you so much for joining. I am Jennifer Yarbrough. I am your nonprofit expert. Over 37 years of experience helping nonprofit leaders start, grow, and sustain their nonprofit businesses. One of the things that I'm often asked about is nonprofit insurance, which is a very important um, item that you and your organization want to make sure that you are able to address. Okay, it's very important. When you are starting your organization, you want to make sure that not only are your participants protected, but also the people that support your organization as well. So I'm just going to run through some of the insurance options that are available to your nonprofit, and I would encourage you to speak with insurance companies, inquire of those insurance companies that specialize in nonprofit insurance. And you may also want to consult with your attorney as well. A nonprofit attorney would be highly recommended. So let's talk about some of the insurances, and then you can make the decision based upon your organization, the practices, the events that occur in your nonprofit, which or of those which insurances are best for you. All right. So the first one is the general liability insurance. General liability insurance covers your events, your activities. Let's say you have outside events. Those of you that have, let's say, jogathons or different types of activities where your participants may be running, maybe outside setting up things, different types of tournaments that you all may be having, making sure that your participants are covered in case of injury or some other type of accident is highly recommended. If you are having some type of outside event that deals with crossing the street, that deals with outside in the park, and if there are children, all of these things you want to keep in mind, that your organization does not want to be found not only liable, but then not prepared to properly support any accident that may occur. All right. The other one is directors and officers insurance. And this liability is to cover really any mismanagement. As a community-based organization, you are supported by your community, right? So your community is entrusting your organization with their resources, with their products, with all of their money, right? So making sure that the board is covered. Now, this again is a conversation that you and your board want to have, but it is definitely one that covers the board's legal offenses. If the organization is sued because of mismanagement or some other improper accounting procedure, your board then is covered. Their legal fees are covered through this type of insurance. Okay. So it is one that is designed to help them cover or recover from any lawsuit that may come towards the organization. Now, I know when we start talking about boards, some of you guys can be like, oh my gosh, that's why I want my brother, my father, my dog, my cat, my fish on my board, because I want to be in control. Honestly, as a community-based organization, you are more concerned about your community. Why? Because that's where your resources and your support come from. Your donations, your contributions, your funding comes from the community. So no matter who's on your board, you want to make sure that they are protected to help you and ensure that your organization is doing the right thing. Okay. So again, putting and stacking your board with your family, your friends, is not going to protect them in the event that something occurs. Now, these occurrences are not rare, are not very prevalent, but they can occur. Okay. You are a public organization. And so your community, those who have contributed and donated to your organization, they have a right to see, to review some of your financial information. And if there is, in fact, some clue or indication that there has been some financial misappropriation, as a public entity, it is within their right to investigate, right? And so that may involve some legal actions. And so this directors and officers insurance will help ensure that your board is protected legally for representation. Okay, they are the ones that work. The board are the ones that work with you in partnership to ensure that the resources, the credibility, the transparency of the organization and the community is in place, and that is proper. I totally agree with that. Okay. You may want to have also professional liability insurance, okay? And this is known as E&O insurance. And this provides for professional services or advice. It protects against claims of negligence, errors and omissions in the services provided, in case the organization is sued for not following through or adhering to the services that it has promised. Again, you would want to consult with your nonprofit insurance expert in your community. Ask them questions, find out what is involved and the benefits and the costs for these insurances, and make sure that these coverages are afforded in your budget. All right. So these are things that are going to protect you. For those of you who are able to hire staff, okay, you've got the employment practical liability insurance. And so this covers against wrongful termination. It covers against discrimination and harassment. So if you have a 9-to-5 job, you're pretty familiar possibly with this type of insurance that ensures that as an employee, that person is protected against any type of retaliation or any type of inappropriate workplace conduct, just to make sure that, again, you're covered and that your employee is covered as well. Property insurance, okay? So if you are an organization that has property, let's say you have a transitional property or a house where people actually live in as a part of the program, you may want to have this insurance, which may be required before you actually purchase the property, against damage of loss or fire or any type of national disaster or even vandalism. Okay, so this is for those programs that have a facility, a house where people are living in, or a property where people may be staying, or others that you want to make sure are protected against any of these liabilities or financial occurrences that could occur. All right. So again, making sure that those are in place. Business interruption insurance is another one. And this one occurs when, for whatever reason, the businesses and the services and possibly some of the things that you have committed as an organization, because of that business interruption, this insurance would cover you. This is pretty rare, but it could happen. But you want to, again, take a look at your program. Take a look at the services that your organization provides. If there are any partnerships or any collaborations where your organization has committed certain services and for whatever reason within that agreement you're not able to adhere to, this might be an insurance. Now, we can't be reactive, right? After the fact, go off and get some insurance. But again, just being very thoughtful, being very intentional, being very strategic, and thinking this through may protect you, help you, and those that work with you as well. All right. Event insurance. This is pretty common, again, if you're having some type of gala that's outside, if you're having some type of, marathon, if you're having some type of event that requires, skydiving or whatever, swimming, events or competitions, something where a person could have a serious accident. If you're hosting things outside in parks where you're going to need, not only parking, but facilities for people to use the restrooms, if they're crossing the street, all those kinds of event things you want to take into account. And this is an insurance that you may want to have, right? You don't want anyone to have an accident at your event, participating in your event. And there may be of something that was overlooked, or possibly some wires that were exposed and someone tripped and fell, hurt themselves, all of those things. You just want to make sure that you are covered for any type of liability. All right. And then volunteer insurance. Many organizations rely on volunteers, and they are so valuable and so important. And again, these are coverages for people who are working or not working, but volunteering for your organization and for your program, just so that they're not exposed to any type of, occurrence. And that if in fact they are hurt or harmed while they're volunteering, that you want to make sure that they're covered, right? So let's say they're out helping your organization clean up on the side of the highway, or if they are, out in the woods somewhere helping you clear trails and paths. There's, poison ivy, there's tripping and falling, and those kinds of things. If they are helping with the repair of certain facilities, right? You wanting to make sure that they are not exposed to any type of danger. And if they are, that there is something that can be covered. Okay. If they're out working with you on the, and serving the homeless, right? There are opportunities for any type of transmission of something, being hurt and harmed by needles and things like that. So again, just being very mindful and considerate, and considering that the people that work with you, alongside you, who are helping you to do this work, making sure that you are protecting your organization as well as protecting them. It's so easy to go into this business of the nonprofit and think that it's really all about your passion. It's all about, what it is that you want to do in relations to serving the people. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you also want to make sure that the people who work alongside you, the people that help you to do the work, your volunteer, your boards, your staff, that they are protected. And you want to make sure ultimately that the organization is protected as well against any liability. So being intentional, being thoughtful, being mindful, being clear about what possibilities and opportunities are out there for coverage and for that protection, it is best that you consult with a nonprofit insurance company within your community, as well as possibly an insurance lawyer, attorney, right? Where they will be able to answer more specifically some of your questions. They'll be able to give you some guidance and some direction. But this is a part of leadership. Leadership includes being able to foresee to the best of your ability, prepare for to the best of your ability, and respond to different occurrences that will happen just in life. Accidents happen. They're not they're not intentional. One of your staff or one of your volunteers could be driving one of the organization's vans or cars, or picking up participants on behalf of the organization, and an accident occurs, right? It should not be solely upon that individual to be held to the consequences of what that might create. So if you in fact are having volunteers driving cars, transporting things on behalf of the organization, things happen and your organization may be liable. right? So making sure that these insurances are in place, putting um, the deductibles and considering the deductibles and putting the fees and costs for that insurance into your budget, just to make sure that you are focused on raising the funds for those line items is really going to be important. And again, it's going to protect the people that work with you, the people that are in your program, but as well as protect the community and the organization. All right. I hope that this has been helpful. Again, I advise you to consult with a attorney, a nonprofit attorney in your community, a company that specializes and offers nonprofit insurance, and they will be able to give you all of the requirements, the criteria, and the opportunities that are available to you based upon your program and the events and the occurrences that your organization has, either periodically or on an ongoing basis. That's something that you want to really look into and be prepared for. All right. I hope that this was helpful. I want to thank you guys again for joining me. I am Jennifer Yarbrough, your nonprofit expert. I do appreciate your comments, your likes, and your follows. Please subscribe so that you are notified when I come again. And again, thank you. I am here for you. If you'd like to get more information about myself and my company, my services, feel free to go to www.jdyarbrough.com. That's www.jdyarbrough.com. All right, you guys, have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.